Okay, now we watch a video when the government announced that when they revised the the PLI in 2020 to be used in Malaysia. So this is the video.
The government has reviewed the poverty line income PGK calculation methodology to ensure that the consumption patterns, needs, as well as demographics of Malaysian households are on par with the development of the country has achieved since 2018. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamed said the national monthly PGK was RM2,208 per household in 2019. This is a revision following a review of the calculation methodology. He said the PGK methodology was last updated in 2005 and in 2016 it was RM980 a month per household.
Okay. Kita tengok maknanya diorang dah revise balik instead of RM980 they revise to 2,000 plus for the PLI in Malaysia. Okay. So actually, how the PLI is calculated? Okay, this is the things very interesting. Or what are the differences between the one that we use in 2005 and also the calculation that we use in the recent one, 2019. Okay, we know that first the difference in terms of the PLI, where in 2015, okay, the methodology they define the PLI as a RM900 and it is RM980. However, for the recent one, the PLI for the Malaysia is a RM2,208. Okay, number two, the difference is the calculation factored in the minimum food requirement for each household member. Indicated here, this is the minimum food requirement. Okay, they look at in terms of the minimum food requirement. However, for 2019, we are not looking in terms of the minimum food requirement, but it must be aligned, okay, with the Malaysian Dietary Guidelines, the MDG, where we want to look at in terms of the healthy eating requirement. If you still remember, okay, kalau you all ingat lagi, kita punya not the MDG, but then with our NPAN, kan, healthy eating. Okay, healthy eating to health well-being, so that we are not looking in terms of the minimum food requirement, but we're looking in terms of how they can access into the healthy eating requirements. And actually benda ni memang align dengan food security, because we know that one of the definition of food security, they can access to the nutritious and healthy food, not just they can access to the food, any kind of food. Sebab kita tahu bahawa sekarang ni healthy food is very pricey. So we mean that if that community or in that household they can afford to buy the healthy eating, okay, healthy foods, then it considered as not having a deprivation. Okay, and last time, okay, the indicator to the calculations considered as about 106 non-food items. Okay, but now, okay, the revised balik, actually there are another around 14 non-food items were not including. Okay, maybe in 2005 dulu, handset adalah bukan satu keperluan. Internet bukan satu keperluan. Nowadays, we know that every one of us, each and every one of you, you must have laptop, at least komputer dan sebagainya. Okay, laptop, computer, you must have Wi-Fi and etc. So these non-food items was not in 2005. So that's why there is a addition of the non-food items, right? So of course in 2005 they based on the spending patterns of the P20 group, okay, as indicated by the 2004-2005 household expenditure, and in 2018 they look at in terms of spending patterns of the P20 groups, as indicated by the 2019 household expenditure survey results. So there are around three differences on how the methodology and how the PLI was calculated in 2005 and also 2019. So dia memang is a high time for Malaysian to revise the PLI. Okay, so this is by the Malaysia statistician, Dr. Syed Muzir Mahidin. Okay, this is he said that From the aspect of food items, before this, we look more towards the concept of minimum. But this time, we stress on discussion with a health ministry, which is optimum and healthy quality. That is the MPAM. Kan kita kan MPAM punya aim, ataupun our national nutrition policy. And also it must be aligned with our recent RNI 2017 and also our recent MDG. MDG is going to be launched soon. Whereas I'm not sure whether I already informed to all of you that we are going to have a new Malaysian food pyramid. We just wait for the government to announce the MDGs. So how the PLI is calculated? For example, calorie intake for a household with 4 people is about 7,820 kilocalories for 2019. But based on the RNI, the current RNI 2017, the calorie intake for the household is about 6,474 in 2016. So for example, the calculations is that, for example, this is a number household. There are 4 members. The fathers, the individual food cost per month, and then look at in terms of the other cost for food preparations. Then there we calculate, based on the household members, and also they calculate in terms of the cooking oil and the ingredients. The food PLI is about 1,197.85. Ini baru sahaja dari segi food items. Kita tak dikasih segi non-food items macam minyak kereta, internet dan sebagainya. Is a non-food items. This is about like tadi 146 non-food items. And then, this is for non-food item. This is in terms of statistics. Of course, you don't have to remember the statistics, but this is how they calculate in terms of the non-food items, and therefore they got the PLI, which is about 2,208 ringgit for the new PLI for Malaysia. So if we can compare in terms of 2006 and 2019, what are the difference in the green and the yellow one? This the yellow if we use the old methodology. For example, if we use the 2005 methodology, of course, it will be 980. So, if the government still use the same methodology just now, it's about the minimum food requirement and also about 106 items for non-food items. So, maybe it's just a 983. For the PLI. And then absolute poverty is about 0.2. Number of absolute household, they can say it will reduce. Reduce. Sedangkan sekarang ni lebih tinggi. And hardcore, they can find any hardcore poverty. But does it hardcore is about 0.2, and number of hardcore per household is about 1752. However, when we compare this one, this is one, they use the 2005 methodology. This one, they use the 2019 methodology. We can see that there are increment from the 980 to 2,208. Instead of 0.4%, if we use the current, is about 5.6%. And in terms of the number of household per household is about 500,000 just now. As I mentioned just now, it's about 400,000 instead of just 24,000. You just imagine, just is about 24,000, but actually it's like half million. And then from being zero of the hardcore poverty, we found that there is about 10.4% of hardcore poverty. And this is about absolute. In absolute, this is hardcore poverty. And in terms of number of hardcore per household is about 27,000. It's 0. However, the government itself said that, why not we use the data from 2016, but that data we try to use the 2019 methodology. So from here that if we, since 2016, kalaulah kita revise our PLI calculation since 2016, it showed that it's actually 2,140 ringgit, the PLI in 2016. So that means that, of course, there is still an increment from 2010 to 2100 to 2200. But they said that, of course, when we try to use the methodology 2019, there is a decrease in terms of the absolute poverty. So it means that from 7.6%, so they're underreported. I can say it's underreported because you can see that 2016 here and 2016 here. When you use the 2005 methodology, it's about 0.5%. But secara orang kata hakikinya, secara realistiknya, it's about 7.6%. It's actually if you use a good methodology, right methodology. Okay, and then they said that, of course, if you use the number of select per household, still there is an improvement in terms of the number of absolute per household. In terms of hardcore also, there is a reduce about 0.2%, and in terms of the number of hardcore also reduced from 45, almost half, to 27. 1,000 ringgit, 45k to 27k. So it means that they said that still there is an improvement if we use the methodology 2019 for the 2016 data. So basically, okay, itu secara Malaysia. Now we look at in terms of global, in terms of the global perspective of view, they find that the global poverty has fallen to a new low of 10%. Okay, they said that in 1990s, they are about 36% of poverty globally. They reduced about 10% only in 2015. But secara realitinya, okay, the poverty rates remain high in low income countries, and especially the countries that are affected by conflict and also sub-Saharan Africa. I will show you about this data in other topics. Okay. Okay, this is the new standard for a growing world. Just now we look into Malaysia. Now kita akan tengok dari segi worldwide. Okay. Jadi macam saya cakap tadi, if you use the 1.9 US dollar, actually this is the use benchmark for the low income countries. Okay, but for the middle income countries is about 3.220 dollar, and about for the high income countries is 5.5 dollar ringgit per day per person. Okay, so they found that half of the countries for which the World Bank monitors poverty have now reduced extreme poverty to below 3%, but that doesn't mean poverty is non-existent in this country. Okay, so 47%, nearly half of the world lives on less than 5.5 per day, and how they define that 1.9, 3.2, and also 5.5. Okay, so 1.9 for low income, 3.2 if that country is a middle income countries. However, for high income countries, for example, if you are living in the US, for the high income countries, or in Italy and etc., so the poverty lines is when the household, okay, every member of the household, the income is like $5.5 per day. Okay, maknanya kalau lebih kurang kan, kalau dulu kalau kita dulu kan kita tengok kan macam mana, so you can look at in terms of whether they have a very good poverty line or etc. Depends on the countries punya status. Sebab kita kata macam saya mention tadi, okay, establishing a new society poverty line, being poor is very relative. Kalau dalam poor country, one may only need clothing and food to perform work. Whereas in richer country, one may also need access to internet, a phone, and vehicles. So it means that they are different. Why they are different in terms of the poverty line? Sebab in terms different in terms of the needs of the countries. So beyond the monetary poverty, okay, as mentioned just now, we have to look at in terms the MPI, multi-dimension poverty index, the MPI, where we look at not just only for the income, monetary, but we look at in terms of the electricity, sanitation, and etc. Okay, so in a sample of 119 countries for the years of 2018, they found about 1 in 8 are poor in monetary. Okay, dari segi monetary 1.8 poor, but 8 of 9 are deprived in at least one other dimensions, and they're lacking access to education or basic infrastructure services. So you can see that kalau kita tengok dari segi monetary, kita akan katakan 1/8 are poor, but then when we look at into other dimensions, it's actually 8 out of 9 members is actually deprived based on other dimension.